what we're trying to create are snapshots of these songs that connect dots for people, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, if this part of this song connects to you, maybe I can get you to connect to this part of this song, you know?
Exactly.
And of course, it's not gonna happen every single time.
No.
Like you said, you wanted to do this, you know, talk with one of your good friends, talk about some of the things that you love in music, you know, hopefully bring people and situations together through the dichotomy of music, which has always been the way that we have come together.
Exactly.
You know?
For 20, however many, 25 years? 25 years.
Yeah.
Long time.
Yeah. But also if you look historically at your community in mind, well, you know, music had a big part in bringing us together in civil rights and in other times in history, and you can just start going down on the line. So the music is very key to the progress.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
James Brown, you know what I'm saying? Like James Brown helped bring, you know.
Yeah, James Brown's amazing.
You know, white people love James Brown. You know what I'm saying? He broke down a lot of biases. They're like, how can I hate black people? I love James Brown. You know what I'm saying?
How could you hate James Brown? Like the music anyway.
you can't not like it. It's too funky. It's too good.
Yeah.
It does something inside of you. Like every time he comes on still, you know what I mean? It's like,
you got even like somebody who looks like me, I'm moving in the chair. Like, I mean, I look ridiculous, but still but you can't sit still. Like, it's just not a sit still music.
Yeah, but the music matters, you know what I mean? It touches the soul. So, you know, soul don't have a color.
Yeah.
But that's it. I love the songs that we're covering today.
I do too. It's interesting. I'm thinking back for like the lead-ins to this. Like I was going back over them this morning, and one of them, the two we're doing the Jennifer Nettles Band, a song called Round and Round, and probably one of the most wider culture famous hip-hop songs to ever exist, that most people know is Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince's Summertime. So it's interesting to me that the two songs that we've got are, one of them is like super famous, and one of them is you can barely even find on YouTube. This from an album called is it The Story of Your Bones, the name of the album? I think it is The Story of Your Bones. And this was Jennifer Nettles is the lead singer for Sugarland. That's where most people know her from. But this is pre-Sugarland stuff, and I'll tell you more about how I got into all this later. But it's a song that nobody knows, or not many people know. So it'll be an interesting conversation to talk about one song that's like super famous and one that's not at all.
I actually like that part about it because you know what? Listening to the Jennifer Nettles Band song Round and Round, as you know, a critic and a lover of music, it actually made me scale Summertime by Will Smith and Jazzy Jeff back down to a local Philly vibe in my mind, because the Round and Round song has a very like local-ish feel, but in a good way. And it made me realize that Will actually originally wrote Summertime for Philly, not for all of us.
Yeah, it is a very Philly song. That was my vibe from it for sure. Like, I mean, obviously I knew the song, but like actually like getting into it and paying attention to what he's saying, it's a very Philly song.
Yes, the themes, it is a very Philly song. It's just that the themes and the motifs are so, I don't even know if it's a word, blaxploitative.
It's hitting the major points. I mean, it's girls and basketball and shoes and like, I mean, it's barbecue, like it's doing all of those things, right?
It's hitting themes and archetypes and motifs of Black life that we actually appreciate and like being highlighted.
Exactly.
That's part of the feel-good buy-in to it. Yes.
It feels like a celebration for sure. Yeah.
There we go. Celebratory. That's the word. Yeah. There we go. Celebratory is what it feels like. And the Jennifer Nettles song was able to make me forget how big of a hit Summertime was and just listen, you know, to this kid from Philly talk about how his neighborhood rolls in the summertime. You know,
Summertime just feels like he's walking down the street and like talking about the stuff that he sees as he goes. Like,
you forget it because the song is so damn big.
Yeah.
That it's really just a young black man in the summertime. It's like it's telling you what's going
Yep.
on around Philly in the summertime. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you want to start? Do you want to start with Jennifer Nettles, or do you want to start with?
We can start with Fresh Prince because we're there right now.
Okay, so small backstory that you probably are not privy to. One of the things in this song that always stirs up debate and conversation in the hip hop community
Mm-hmm.
is that this is not normally how Will Smith raps.
Okay.
This is actually the only song that you hear him in this flow, in this cadence, and in this delivery.
Okay.
It is very Rakim like.
Mm.
A lot of people have felt like Rakim wrote Summertime, which both Will Smith and Rakim have denied. But Rakim's influence and Spear, because I believe Summertime is 1992.
That sounds right. Yeah, it's early 90s.
So this is right when Rakim is dropping his fourth album.
Mm-hmm.
He's considered to be the greatest MC of all time by then.
Right.
And so his influence is heavy. And so a lot of people felt like Will jacked Rakim's style, but also a lot of people felt like nobody ever did it better when they did it, though.
Yeah.
You know, so
are they arguing sort of that Will doesn't have enough skills to do it like that? So somebody else must have done it for him?
No, I think that he wrote this, but I think, you know, Rakim is so big in the lexicon of hip hop for MCs at the time.
Right.
He's such a big inspiration, even for MCs his age, that it's more of imitation greatest form of flattery type of thing.
That makes sense.
Will not capable. Actually, this song is showing some of Will's acting chops by his ability to take Rakim's style. If Rakim's the greatest MC of all time and Will Smith is able to take his style and format it and make it one of the biggest hits of all time,
yeah,
that means that Will Smith's a pretty talented guy himself.
He is very talented.
And so this is a good way to start off. Will Smith is one of the most underrated rappers of all time. And my cousin, who's a music producer, he and I have been saying this since we were teenagers, since he became a movie star. It's like, no, the Fresh Prince, no, he was a dope rapper. He wasn't a gangster rapper.
No.
He wasn't like Ice Cube or Scarface, or he wasn't Chuck D. But as far as like flow, delivery, stage presence, cadence, punchlines, Will Smith has always been a dope MC. Always. It's actually the grandeur of his lifestyle that have made people forget that. It's all the movie roles, the TV sitcoms, the wife, now the wife problems. All these things that make people forget is all of it started because he was a really dope MC once upon a time.
Right.
He really is. He's still one of the best rappers to ever come out of Philly.
Wow. And there's a lot of them that have come out of Philly too. That's a good list to be on.
I mean, you got to think about it this. How many rappers from Philly have won a Grammy? How many rappers from Philly are the author of two of the most 50 to 100 greatest hip hop songs ever? Because he's also got Parents Just Don't Understand.
Right. Yeah.
You know? I mean, how many people can say that?
No.
How many people can say they've sold 3, 4, 5 million records that came out of Philly? How many people can say that they've been on tour with Public Enemy, NWA? You get what I'm saying? Like, as far as rap credentials goes, he actually checks more boxes than most guys who get way more credibility than him. That's what's fascinating about him. And so that's just a little backstory. But as far as what the groove is, it is very Rakim-like, because he breaks it down the way Rakim does. He goes, here it is, the groove, slightly transformed, just a bit of break from the norm, just a little something to break the monotony of all the hardcore dance that's gotten to be a little bit out of control. It's cool to dance, but what about the groove that soothes, that moves, romance? That's nice, man. That whole structure right there, that's Rakim style. That whole last bar I gave you, that's how Rakim flows.
Okay. So I mean, it did sound familiar. That's what I wasn't really placing it, but I don't know enough to place it. But yeah,
remember when it does feel like that. So this is I ain't no joke. I used to let the mic smoke.
Oh, now it is, isn't it?
To make sure it's broke. Yes, this is Rakim.
Oh, cool.
Right. See, you immediately
I hear it now. Yeah.
Tone and pitch of it. Yeah. And so this is what hip hop heads are saying when they're hearing it for the first time. You know, because Rakim's the one with the street cred.
Right.
Will Smith is just a Prince of Bel Air, so it's like the guy without cred took the stuff from the guy with cred, because this is bigger than any record Rakim's ever made.
Yeah, for sure. It's bigger than most, as I was saying earlier, like
It's one
in
of
the
the
wider
biggest.
culture, like everybody knows this song. Like everybody
Yes,
that's
I
roughly
think
our age, like is you can sing summer, summer, summer. Like everybody knows it.
I think it's one of the 10 biggest ever, but it's also one of the best ever. Like it's rightfully placed. It's one of the best rap songs ever.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's easily one of the 25 best rap songs ever, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It is. It's too catchy. It's too groovy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
It's easy to sing. It's got a hook you can sing. It's got great flow. I mean, obviously you've just spoken to that. I can't speak to that as easily, but yeah, it's just a good song. It's just a good song. Like
it's just a good song. None of the wordplay in here is complicated. You know what I mean? He's
no.
literally talking about school is out and it's sort of a buzz, but back then I really didn't know what it was. That's what I mean. It's like, no. It's hitting simple and positive motifs and archetypes. Like every couple of words, there's no negativity going on.
Right.
And so what's beautiful about this song is that it's showing you, and this is why he is great as an MC. And I wanted to cover this song, not because the song's big. You don't have to curse, and you don't have to give negative depictions of your community
exactly
to make a great big selling record. No, you don't. This is proof that you don't. Because this record's not corny either. This is a record that everybody plays. When it comes on, I don't care. I know some of the toughest guys you could ever want to meet. Let this record come on in their car. They want to roll their windows down and let people, you know what I mean?
Because it's that kind of song.
Yeah, there's no cursing going on. There's nobody going to. This is we're gonna go through this song too. Probably next. Ice Cube's A Good Day.
Right. When I was thinking about it, those two songs do kind of go together. They're like mirror images of each other, sort of.
They are, but okay, see, but the motifs and the archetypes and the positivity is a little bit different. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
This is the sunshine. Good day is sunshine on a cloudy day,
Right.
Because I keep saying stuff, no helicopter looking for the murder.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So he's showing it's a good day, but he's still giving you, no, there's still a cloud. That dark cloud Nas is talking about on The World Is Yours. Mm-hmm. Ice Cube is letting you know that cloud still exists on a good day.
Yeah, we just
that cloud doesn't
got
exist.
Lucky today. That one feels to me like we got lucky today. Like
yeah, we lucked up today. Yeah, we lucked up today and had a good one. This feels more like a ritual. Summertime's like a ritual. This is a habit. This is like, no, we're putting all of that to the side because it's summertime.
We're celebrating.
We want to celebrate and have a good time. We want to enjoy these beautiful women. We want to enjoy the brothers in their nice cars that they spent all day waxing, riding around on your 20-inch rims or Lorenzos. Want you to show off and have a good time. So it's literally.
I love also in the feminist thing too that both the men and the women are looking at each other in this song too. This is not just like peeping the girls or whatever. They're like the girls are also staring at it's going both ways, which is true. Like it happens.
No, when he says the summer, it's like the summertime's a natural aphrodisiac.
Yep.
It's like, yes, check that box, correct. Yep. And it's said so simply and so appropriately and so properly. That's what I mean. It's such a simple expression of all these motifs that we understand. And it's also respectful when he's talking about the women. Listen to what he said. He's not calling them bitches or hoes, you know what I mean, or calling them sluts. He's saying it's hot outside and the girls are dressing less.
Yeah. Which is
what happens. I mean? But that's what I mean is like there's nothing wrong with saying it that way. It's like you don't.
It's hot. You're dressing appropriately for the weather. Like
right. Showing a little bit more skin. Okay, it's like a natural aphrodisiac. He's not expressing it in an overly sexualized way or in a misogynistic way.
Right. It feels like he's celebrating them too, just like he's celebrating everything else. Like it's just
he's celebrating. Yes, that's what I mean. Every couple of lines, he's actually celebrating everything that's going around him in a positive way. That's what I mean. It's like, no, put all that tough shit on the shelf for a little bit. Let's just have a good time about everything. Let's appreciate these beautiful women, these beautiful men. Let's appreciate the
cars,
people,
the shoes,
people playing ballpark. Yeah. Let's appreciate the food that we're eating, the time that we're spending together. It's kind of like we have a lot of jokes in the Black community about inviting people to the barbecue.
Yeah.
This is the barbecue theme song. Like if you're showing up to the barbecue, this is the jam that's playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's always what I felt too. Yeah.
No, this is it. This is the feeling and the vibe that you want. And it's also like, this is one of those things too. This is like required playlist stuff if you're throwing like a jam at your house in the summertime now, if you're Black. Be like, hey, when you go play Summertime by Will Smith, and like, y'all ain't playing Summertime?
Where's
like,
that?
It's that. Like, yeah. Like, you got to hear that. That's what I mean. So this is part of Black culture and a part of hip hop culture as any hip hop song would exist, you know? And most of the other songs that exist on that level, they tear at you on some sort of level. Fight the Power.
Right.
Dear Mama. I'll Be There For You. Nothing But a G Thing. Those are different archetypes and motifs.
Yeah.
There are very few all-time great hip-hop songs where the whole point is to just have a good time.
Okay.
So, super important record. What are some of your thoughts and some of your notes about it? That's pretty much.
I love, you've said a lot of them already, but like I love also the mirror image of the older, like the teenage guys or the older guys talking to the teenage girls, mirrored in the like little boys talking to the girls doing double dutch too. It's like a mirror image of that. They're doing the same thing, except in a not like you said, in not a misogynistic kind of way. It's just like the little kid version of the same thing. Like there's playing, right? There's playing, and it has the song has an innocence to it, sort of like in a way that, like you said, you don't see in a whole lot of songs of any kind, really, not just hip hop songs, but you don't see it in a lot of country songs that are like this too. Like they're not like this. Not pure is not exactly the right word, but you know what I mean. Like they're not.
I don't think pure is the word, but there's just something sincerity. There's
there you go. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at.
There's something sincere about this record that really just kind of touches a place. It does.
Where is that?
It touches a. It's almost like a hit of dopamine when you hear this record. It kind of makes you go, that's like, yeah, okay. Like if you're having a bad day, this is one of those records that can change it.
Yeah. Do you know what the sample, like where's the summertime come from? Like it's a R&B record, right? Like from like the 70s or something. Doesn't it come from somewhere else, or was it written specifically for this song?
I think it was written specifically for this song, but that's a very good question.
But I don't know that.
You want to know it? In all honesty, I'm going to check right now because it's like those are things that I usually know. And I don't know. This is what I mean about how addictive this record is. It's a type of record I've never really checked the facts or the stats on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You just listen.
It's like I kind of know who produced it because, you know, DJ
it says it in the title.
Right. Yeah. So, but you want to know what? That's a good question. And I'm going to check right quick to see if Summertime is sampled and from where. And I hate to say it because it's hip hop. It's probably sampled from somewhere, but I don't know if that's the part that's sampled. It's most likely that loop that's sampled.
Yeah. While you're looking at that, I want to say this too for the wider culture too, that Jazzy Jeff does a summertime playlist, like a mixtape kind of thing, just about every summer. I don't know if he's still doing it or not, but I know he did for a long time. And those are amazing too. Like if you just play that in the background, they're awesome too.
No,
yeah,
you're right. Summer Madness by Kool and the Gang.
Okay, it seemed like that's Kool and the Gang's like disco funk, right? Do I have that right? Yeah.
Yes.
It has that kind of vibe.
You want to know what I was actually thinking? I haven't listened to Summertime this summertime yet. I'm probably going to do that.
Yeah,
that's what I mean about how infectious it is. It actually made me think. It's like, hold on, have I listened to it this summer yet? I'm like, hold on, well, we're going to do that.
Important, yeah.
No, I'm going. You know what? I was actually thinking, taking my daughter to work, taking Asaya to work at 1:00 today. And you know, of course, it's Georgia, and it truly hotter than July, to quote Stevie Wonder.
It is very hot.
I think I'm going to let the sunroof back and play Summertime.
That's an experience you need to have.
I was actually trying to think if I rode with my kid, like with the sunroof back, kind of like let her feel that vibe. Yeah. And I don't know if I have. So that's kind of on my agenda today. So our podcast is putting dad back up on game too, you know? Good.
No, I've played it repeatedly for my oldest daughter, and I guess my youngest one too, because she rides everywhere with me, because she's a baby. But my oldest daughter, for those of you who don't know, is 13, and so she is in the like rolling her eyes at everything stage right now. But like, I am doing my best to expose her to appropriate um appropriate parts of culture, of everybody, of all cultures too. Like it's, and that's one that I've played for. She rolled her eyes at tonight, the Smashing Pumpkins song yesterday too.
Oh yeah.
But we'll get to that too later in a different episode. But
So let's get to Jennifer Nettles and this Round and Round song. This you know what I was thinking? I was like, this
yeah,
is the
tell me.
type of hoedown. This is the type of hoedown I would go to.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it is, and that was one of my first notes too. Is that like there are literally thousands of other songs I could have picked to pair with Summertime.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are hundreds of country songs and hundreds like that are all like, beer and food and trucks and bonfires and shit. Like I mean, like it's
Mm-hmm.
like that there are thousands of those. But I picked one that nobody knows basically.
Mm-hmm.
Because I did it for two or three reasons. One, I think it captures rural white, mostly Southern small town life, but a way that
Mm-hmm.
is not quite so, yeehaw, hooray, America, but a little more well-rounded. There's less nostalgia involved, I think, and more giving you a wider angle lens on the place.
She's walking a very good tightrope of
Mm-hmm.
being countrified,
Mm-hmm.
but not being like out of touch and redneckish.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly.
No, she's on the tightrope very well because
Mm-hmm.
it's like it's got that. It your assessment of it. I was like, man, I was like, I know so many country ass white towns like this in South Carolina and North Carolina that my
Mm-hmm.
family is around, that I've been around. Like, no, I know this neighborhood and I know it well. And she does an excellent job
Yep.
of making that town feel inviting, because that town's not always inviting in the minds of blacks. You know?
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
And that's cool because like the other reason I wanted to pick the song is because it gives me an excuse to talk about one of my favorite artists too. Like I mean, and this song is a country or country-ish song. Round and Round is, but country-ish songs are not. I mean, they are Sugarland's thing, but her previous bands, the Jennifer Nettles Band and Soul Miner's Daughter before that, those are not country at all. The song is not indicative of what all of her songs sound like either.
I think, but that's why I said I think the song is still more country-fied than even country, though. You know,
Mm-hmm.
It's
real.
almost like it's that deep Southern Baptist rooted tradition that I hear in the song that makes it country-fied. It's not necessarily country. It's got, I mean, because it's got a little honky tonk square dance to it. You know?
It does. It does. For illustrating like what kind of music briefly before we get into the lyrics and the story that she's telling in the song. First of all, guys, if you have not listened to the song, I'll put the link down in the description. You can go listen to it so you know what we're talking about. I've seen Jennifer Nettles in her various incarnations, Soul Miner's Daughter, Jennifer Nettles Band, and then Sugarland, like 30, 40 times probably live. And the three songs, this will help you understand what kind of music the Jennifer Nettles Band played anyway. The three songs I saw her cover the most often are Emmylou Harris's song Luxury Liner. Look that up too. It's Luxury Liner, 40 tons of steel. No one in the whole wide world knows the way I feel. And like it is a very like 1970s country song. And Emmylou Harris is one of those great country music greats that's not like hella redneck. She's one of the queen mothers of country music, along with like Dolly Parton and them.
Okay, about to say, where's she? Dolly Parton, Reba McEntire.
She's more folky than them.
More folky
but
than them. Okay.
But
they're more commercialized than she is the other way of saying that.
I was going to start talking about Dolly. We'll talk about Dolly in a different episode, but like Dolly is like the queen mother. Like she is the top top level.
No. We know that over here. Everybody.
Yeah. Dolly is it. And Reba's great too, but Reba is the commercial. She's to me anyway, the like female version of Garth Brooks. It's that kind of
oh yeah.
that
Okay,
kind
got it.
of,
No, no, no. Okay, no, perfect.
or
Totally get
Shania
it.
Twain, maybe
But
like that kind of thing,
right,
right?
you're only number one in the terms of selling out the stadium.
Yeah. I mean, and she's
Yeah,
great, and Garth is great too, but
but
like
but
they're
in the
also
hearts of the
performers.
soul, right in the soul of the music, that's just like this. It's like, well, I'm going to say this carefully. Well, Beyonce's running it, but everybody loves Rihanna more over here.
Okay.
Yeah,
We
like
don't
like
get the Beehive
Riri's
after.
the one we're excited about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I heard her cover that song a lot, the Emmylou Harris song. I heard her cover. Do you know the Allman Brothers song "Whipping Post"?
Yep.
It's
Sure do. Familiar with the Allman Brothers too. Yeah.
oh,
Mhm.
that's it's an amazing song, amazing song. I heard her cover that one, and I don't have to explain Aretha Franklin's "Think" to the think what you're trying to like. You obviously know that song, but um, though if you triangulate those three songs, "Luxury Liner," "Whipping Post," and "Think," if you like think of what would be somebody who combined those three influences, that's what the Jennifer Nettles band would be. Like those three.
So they're rangy.
Yeah. I mean, she has jazz songs, she has country sounding songs, she has rock and roll sounding songs, she has funky sounding songs, she has heavier sounding songs. Like she is one of those people that can sing pretty much anything.
I like the side part. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
Go
you
ahead. You
tell me
got
what
something.
you were going to say.
I just, I keep, part of being a great writer is providing like a visual aid in
Mm-hmm.
people's mind. Every time she sings the end of the hook about spreading her arms wide and being
Mm-hmm.
able to turn aside, I can see that country feel, like with the
Yeah.
magnolia trees growing in the back of it. And
Yeah.
there's a long dirt road that gets to the house,
Yep.
and little cousins and sisters are in the back picking lilies before church,
Yep.
like I can see the whole scene when she just does that one bar. That's songwriting to me, because
Yeah.
you're taking your world and transferring it to me, and I can see that world clearly. And that's why I was like,
Yeah.
oh no, this is an appropriate pairing to summertime, because I can close my eyes and see both of the worlds.
And that's why I chose this song to pair with "Summertime,"
No, I love the pairing.
because it captures this world, I think, in the same way that Will Smith
Yes,
captures.
the snapshots. The
Yeah.
snapshots here are both glorious and
Yeah.
positive and like,
Yeah, and they're exactly that. And she is from like, I mean, she went to college in Atlanta. She went to Agnes Scott in Decatur, but and she used to be married, I think. Don't hold me to this 100%. Used to be married to the guy who ran Eddie's Attic, the club in Decatur.
wow.
So
Yeah, I'm from Decatur down here. I was raised on the east side, so I'm
so
familiar with Eddie's Attic. Very familiar.
yeah,
Know
that's
exactly where.
yeah. But she is from like BFE, small town Georgia, South Georgia kind of place. Like, so
Mhm.
she is one of the coolest parts about her as a human and as an artist is that she is like, many of her songs are very feminist, like the other ones besides this one. Not that this one's not, it just doesn't really touch on that. Many of them are very progressive. There's one on the same album called Listen, where she's telling off a record producer or radio producer for trying to pretend he knows more than her. Like it's so it's very forceful in that way, but also she is from that place. She is from small town Georgia, so she is narrating things that she's actually seen, and I've watched her perform enough times to know the yeehaw at the end of the song or near the end of the song is ironic. But she is
Okay.
like, or a little bit. I mean, it's partial, but it is her. Like it is the place that she came from. Like so, it's both of those things. She's
It's both
not.
of those.
Yeah, and so she walked, like you said at the beginning of the segment, like she walks that line
Yeah.
between there. Um, and she has the part of the verse about the old black man who makes the observation that we're still grouped into the haves and have nots. And yeah, it's been a long time since integration, but it seems there's some folks here they forgot. Like there's still stuff like that in there. That's like, you're like, oh,
No,
she's actually
no.
paying attention to all of the stuff that's going on around her and not
I like
just.
I like the scope, and I like how she slid it in as a writer.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's actually the one tenuous moment in the song, but
Mm-hmm.
she does it and crafts it very well and sings through it beautifully. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
she does the best that she can to make that line not stand out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's just part of the. It sounds awful
She's
to say it's
making
part
it
of the
part of.
scenery, but
No, no, that's what I mean. It's brilliant writing because she's like, no. This subject matter is part of the scenery too.
it is, and it's an important part of the scenery.
It's
Like
an important
it's
part of. Yeah.
there's lots of Christian imagery. I mean, like it talks about
Yeah.
it looks like the holy oaks so burdened with Spanish moss that their very limbs seem to bow in prayer, and there's Jesus in the air. Like, and that,
Mhm.
and that's not just a religious thing. I mean, there's like a, I mean, if you've ever been to South Georgia, I know you have, but if the listeners have, like, it's heavy, man. Like the humidity, like it feels like something's sitting on you a lot of the time. There's
No,
like something else there, the spirit or something.
you drive slower down there. You move slower down there.
Mm-hmm.
There is more space down there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like space between exits, space between lights, space between houses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You'll go
Yeah.
through some places, it looks very like Texas Chainsaw Massacre-ish, like
Yeah.
with the gaps in between. Like
Mm-hmm.
you find stuff like in a town like Osceola, where there's nothing there but like the prison and like a Keebler factory or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
But, and the whole town either works at or is either incarcerated in one or the other.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. No, it's all that. No, I can see that. And she does a brilliant job of expressing those things, much like Will Smith does. Because at first, I did not totally understand what you were doing because I wasn't familiar with her and wasn't familiar with the song. But after a couple of song listens, I'm like, this is actually like perfect pairing for it because, you know, she's not as famous as Will Smith. She's a very, very talented writer.
Yeah.
You know, and this song has a very feel good quality about it too. You know,
Yeah.
now this record is probably not the kind of record that I'm going to play regularly. Like all of our stuff, I usually download and I usually keep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more likely to play. You can't always get what you want.
Sure,
about the stuff.
That's fine.
But as far as like for this pairing and what it does, and you know the motifs and the archetypes and the expression of the environment, and even giving me some perspective of scaling Will back down. Like Will is so big.
Mm-hmm.
It was hard for me to be like, oh yeah, this is 1992. He's talking about Philly. He's not talking about he's not making this for everybody really then. He wasn't, you know, This was his comeback album too. I think I forgot to say that too. It's like his first album won a Grammy. His second album flopped. Then he got the role as Fresh Prince. Then Fresh Prince came successful. Then he came back and did this.
Okay.
And so, like,
that was one of the questions I was going to ask you, is like where this fell in the like timeline.
Oh yes. So in 1989, I'm the DJ, he's the rapper, which is DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince first album, wins Best Rap Grammy, which they boycotted, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And he won first rap Grammy for that. The next year they came out with And In This Corner, which was a total flop. He actually, do you watch David Letterman's interviews?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay, brilliant one with Will Smith, probably the best one. And it happened right before the whole Oscars debacle and fiasco. And so Will Smith is actually given the timeline to all of these things actually career-wise, but talks about specifically the failure of the second album. I think they went to like Puerto Rico or the Bahamas or one of those things. And it was, you know, it was pretty much guys who were 20 years old with money in their pocket that went to an exotic country. So not a lot of rapping.
So they're having parties instead of making music. Yeah.
Right. But, you know, and he pretty much stumbled into the Fresh Prince role because he was hanging out at the Arsenio Hall show after his album had flopped. And the rest is history. But Summertime comes out, I believe, the summer after the second season is done, and they're a hit. And so he's a TV star now. And so when he came back with Summertime, it was like, oh, he's rapping again. And that's where the Rakim thing came in. And it's like, oh, well, you came back and the first thing you did is you took the greatest MC of all time style, you know?
If you're going to pick somebody, you might as well pick the best, right?
Imitation is the best form of flattery, like I'd say. But I say all of these things to say, I wasn't thinking about any of these things until the Jennifer Nettles song, until Round and Round came on. I'd had a whole worldly concept of it because, you know, as a black man that grew up on Will Smith, the rapper and the actor, it's like we have such this big view of him. And I didn't even realize how big my view was, even in terms of my perspective of the song. So the Jennifer Nettles song was necessary for me because it helped me scale down and just remember, oh yeah, this is Will Smith in 1992.
Yeah.
He's talking about Philly. He's not worth $100 million. He's not worth $50 million. I don't even think he's worth $5 million when he made that record. You
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yeah.
And so different time, different place, beautiful records on both sides. So I think we might be good unless you got, unless you just got a story that you want to throw in,
I mean, I have lots of Jennifer Nettles is the only of these, really the only celebrity musician I've ever met. Like, I actually had a conversation with. Um, the very quick timeline of my fandom, I guess. My high school Spanish teacher, then Jennifer Leupold, now Jennifer Pearsall, her baby brother was the bass player for Soul Miner's Daughter. And so when I was in her class, my junior year of high school, I think,
I
she
remember
told,
her.
hmm,
I
I'm sorry.
remember her. I didn't have, but I remember her. I know who you're talking about. Mhm.
Yeah, she said, "Hey, my brother's band is playing at Tremont. Tremont is a music hall or a club in Charlotte. I know you know that, but like for the wider people, they've closed it down now. I think they've wrecked it to build like condos or some crap. But it's not open anymore for sure. But anyway,
Kind of fake.
I went to Tremont to see, and it was like a music showcase. It was this band and two or three others, like all playing back to back, and um, there was this. She didn't tell me anything about the music at all. She just said it's cool. I think you'd like it. I'm like, okay. So I went, and Jennifer Nettles is probably between 5'1" and 5'3". She's a little bitty lady,
Okay.
and or she looks little compared to like um Jennifer Leupold's brother Wes is giant too. So he's standing, and there's another, and Soul Miner's Daughter has another guy in it too named Corey Jones. And so they're both like considerably larger, and she has this huge voice for this tiny little person. And the Soul Miner's Daughter songs hooked me immediately. The Soul Miner's Daughter songs are like Indigo Girls ish. I don't know if that reference makes sense. Like that kind of folky harmony, but they're a little more aggressive too, and a little more wink wink. They're not overtly sexual, but they are like wink wink kind of
Yeah.
sexual. So I followed them. I saw them play together 6 to 10 times probably over the next couple of years. And then that band dissolved, and she made the Jennifer Nettles Band, which was without Corey Jones, her partner, I guess, from Soul Miner's Daughter, but all the other members of what was that band. And that was like through college, basically. So I saw them every time they came to Asheville, Black Mountain, Charlotte. I mean, around. I'd go see them. My now ex-girlfriend, obviously, who I dated in college, went to Agnes Scott too, which is the same college that Jennifer Nettles went to, which is right down the street from Eddie's Attic, which is right. It's all in the same kind of neighborhood.
Neighbor, same. Yep.
They did not go at the same time. Jennifer is a little bit older than us, probably mid-40s.
Okay.
So she would have graduated by that time, but she didn't want, my ex did not like going to shows with me, because there was definitely some like, why don't you look at me like you look at her kind of vibe going on, for sure. She's a tremendous performer. She really is.
You're young, you're enamored.
Yeah, it's at this point I was like 20, 21, so like
Right,
it's not
right. Totally healthy.
So the time that I met her was at one of her shows in Black Mountain, outside of Asheville, and there was a fight in the bar, and they had to get the bouncers to like pull people out and stuff like that. And she came off the stage, and I was standing by like the merch table in the back of the bar, back of the club. It's kind of a bar, and so she just came back there and stood while she waited for all the people to get cleared out. I mean, because it was like throwing glasses. I mean, it was a whole like your typical Wild West bar. It was that kind of stupid crap. So she came back and we talked for a minute, and she was just a normal person, and which is exactly like you described you're meeting Janet Jackson too. It was that kind of, she was just like, it was a normal conversation. It was, I think I did a reasonably good job of not drooling on myself. She was just like a normal and it was great. And
You know
I
what's
was a
funny?
fan before that, but like I was a bigger fan after, for sure.
Famous people, or even people who were, local famous, hood famous, whatever.
Hmm.
I mean, I think I probably had more celebrity run-ins than you.
I'm sure you have, yes.
I think I've had more celebrity run-ins than almost anybody I know.
Yeah, you for sure have more than anybody else that I know.
I mean, except for my cousin who works in Hollywood and actually like deals with all of these people like
Right.
regularly, and it's his job. Like
Well, yeah.
he showed me a video last time I went to his mom's house of Jamie Foxx signing a poster like with his name on it, because him and Jamie Foxx are tight like that. So it's like I don't have those stories like
No.
that, but I got the next best thing. But I would say that what I've really learned, they're regular people, and they just wanted to be treated like regular people. It's like
Yeah.
that whole Janet Jackson night. It's like, well, me and my crew, we kind of did what we would have did had Janet not been there. We partied, we drank, we danced. It's like, well, we didn't need Janet to do that shit, but since she was there,
It becomes a story for sure.
it becomes a story for sure. So it's like, no, I get you. And that's what people forget, I think, about people who do what they love.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, in some of it's even happening to me, because as according to hip hop growing and getting into like over 1 million followers and thousands of subscribers and stuff, people randomly run into me and they're like, yo, cool. And it's like,
Right.
what's up? And they're like, how you feel about such and such and such and such? I'd be like, dude, I'm out with my daughter right now. And they're like, oh yeah. And it kind of settles in on them. It's like, yeah, I'm just a regular guy, just like you, just like, but just the normalcy of it. So it's like, and it's always refreshing when you hear stories about people, being refreshingly normal. Because I have stories of people who weren't, obviously.
Yeah, like there are people who let it get to their head, and she is just seems like, even beyond now, like you see her in interviews and see her like the person you see on stage, the person you see like in conversations and interviews and whatever, that's just her. Like it's just her personality, and there's a genuineness to it that's endearing, I think. So
no, always and eternally. But yeah, man, I think this was great. I'm glad that we covered these songs, and I'm glad you got to hear some of your kind of like, I love hearing people's stories about bands that they like, travel to go see, want to go see. I love all that local action stuff.
Yeah.
I love it. I do.
Yeah,
I love the story of it. It's like I didn't know that you found out about it from Mrs. Loophole's brother, and like all that. I remember her in the hallways 10th grade year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of the things that I'm trying to do a not a better job of, or being more conscious of, is when you said a few weeks ago, how many of these bands do you like really like that? So I'm trying to pick ones that are like ones that I really genuinely love, like, and I like all of the ones that I've covered so far, but there's some like she is one that I listen to like regularly, as opposed to like something that I listen to sometimes if it comes on or whatever.
It just helps the conversation go when we're more passionate about the thing. You know what I mean? Like when we love it more, people are going to love it more, especially early on. Like one thing that I've noticed with what me and Mike did, like that first year, we did the stuff that we love to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's how we got following. Like, I was like, no, dude, it's like DJ and Premier and RZA are doing a battle. It's like, I want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about nobody's album this week. He's like, cool, let's do that. We got 9,000 followers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
You know what I thought about today when I was coming down here? I don't think I've ever told you why it is that I wear like a robe for this show.
Yeah, I've always been curious. I mean, I have one right here. I shouldn't. I've thought about just doing both of them.
So I've often said on According to Hip Hop that my actual goal was not to do a podcast. Because I mean, I think you know this because you've known me since I was 15. Well, I'm really a writer at heart.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah.
And so the goal when I started working for According to Hip Hop was to be, and this was my mantra. I told Mike, I'm going to be the ghost face killer of hip hop writers. So I don't want anybody to really like see my face or know me like that. That's why I go by the writing handle Colin Damar, because my name's Armad Colin Damar Cooper. Most people don't know Colin Damar is my middle name, but that's my pseudo writing that I was going to go by.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the podcast changed all of that, obviously.
Well, yeah, because your face is sure.
Right. So the only thing that I could do that was still Ghostface Killer like was wear a big fat robe, since I was actually going to be in front of the camera. So this was the next best thing. Right. It's like, well, if I can't be Ghostface in real life, it's like I'm gonna put on a big Ghostface robe like Supreme Clientele. Like, so that's why I wear the
Just be
robe. If I
chilling.
can't be like, if I can't be the Ghostface Killer of writers, will be the Ghostface Killer of podcasters. You know, you're probably gonna see me like with the big bracelet on my arms.